The ministers will all be here to look at the whole construction, to see the process and the recent results achieved in the project, and they will also conduct a meeting to talk about right now what kind of the challenges the team are facing and how to solve it. So we bring you the live stream from Nairobi here. So talk more about where we are. So here, this is the railway linking Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, and Mombasa. And here exactly for the part of that, actually, that's the extension of the Mombasa-Nairobi railway. So this one is called Nairobi-Marab railway. So I believe everyone is so familiar with this railway. And also actually, there were 10 people from the crew, and they work with Zheng Kai, the celebrity of China, to participate in the Chinese New Year Gala. So I believe all the Chinese audience quite familiar with the whole project because they already saw the face. Sorry, we only can bring you the live stream from here because today is highly secured because of the
那内马铁路呢？它是位于肯尼亚境内，我们目前所在的。
We're in Nairobi and the Marab Railway.
国家公园。那这条铁路呢，它的起点呢是内罗毕。
So the starting point is from Nairobi. That's also the capital of Kenya. And Maraba is a small town that's quite near to the border next to Uganda. And this actually is the extended part of Mombasa-Nairobi Railway. So this actually play a very key role in the whole country's transportation system. And right now we look at this part. This is the first phase of the project. And here is around 120 kilometers. We're at the Nairobi National Park. And we can tell this is a very, very important part of the project. So you may feel very weird why in the national park we have the railway bridge here. Talk about Nairobi National Park. It's the first wild animal park in Kenya and also the first in Africa, and it's also the wildlife park in a country's capital.
Standard gauge railway is going on, being witnessed by none other than His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief. It will be followed by a photo session, and I'm requesting both who are concerned.
那在这个公园呢，也是非常非常的特别。
So in this national park, actually very special,
国家的首都能看到一个真正的
and it's really hard for us to see the wild animals in the capital. And actually here is also quite near to the center of the capital. So for the eastern, southern, and western part of the national park,
队伍，它上来以后啊，进行这孔洞里面呢都要进行钢筋绑扎，预留孔洞，然后浇筑混凝土，支模板浇筑混凝土，等混凝土强度上来以后，这孔洞里面都有钢脚。
And the holes you can see here, actually, we pre-planned. And all these inside, actually, they're also different, very constructed structures. And also make sure to have enough strength and resilience inside to make sure the whole bridge is solid. So we can see right now it's only 3 big parts. Which means this is only the start of the whole construction. We started on 18th. Because at the very beginning, they also need to move the whole area clear. So they also, based on the requirement, control the cost. We started to build up the whole bridge and the piers from 18th. Based on our plan, we can also make, let's say, the very steady progress. And also today, the president himself is here. We also will showcase our technologies and skills to Mr. President. Because for this kind of technologies, they didn't see before. Last time, Mr. President also was here to look at the whole, lay the solid foundation. That's for the last visit, and today I believe we will show him about the whole technology, how we bring the bridge up. And we also need to think about it because it's not allowed to work during the nights because here is the national park. So it's only allowed us to work daytime, so we only can do around 2 to 3 holes. So what do you mean by exactly 2 to 3 holes? So you can see between 2 piers, that's 1 hole. We will talk like, let's say, the space. So we will build up around 3 this kind of space every day. So we bring you a closer look so our audience can look at more clearly, much clearly. So we will show you more later. And this technology is quite cutting edge and also very mature technology. We need to guarantee 100% safe. So I believe this is around 100 or 145 tons per 1 pier. So need to make sure every step is highly secured. And everything actually, we talk about, we do one thing at a time. So everything, think about the safety for sure. So this is our top priority. And then follow that, we will plan our jobs. So to all the audience, to all our viewers, right now we are at the Nairobi National Park. We have the net next to us. So this is the national park, and this is a wildlife national park. And very close to the city center, only around 8 kilometers, and we can see we have this kind of net surrounding us. This is a very open space and good for the animals to do migration. And this is a entrance to the national park. So which means next to this entrance, we will see a lot of different kinds of national animals. Yes, during our construction, we see the lions. We see that the lions actually is really large in size. And the different kinds of the animals, the giraffe. And this is not just normal net. Actually, they all have electricity. So we have all this kind of net with power to protect our workers. We will protect the animals, and we also have something to protect ourselves. So we can see this whole railway actually go through the whole national park. So we have around 200 spaces to go through the whole national park, and this is actually the largest national park in the city around the world. So we had a plan before. Actually, we need to move around 1,000 houses. So that's really complicated. So we work with the wildlife park authorities, we work with the local government and other authorities. We spent half a year to make different plans to make sure we use all these high structured bridges to cross over the national park. This is around 48 meters high. Yes, so from the surface of the bridge to the ground, that's around 48 meters. Why build so high? You need to think about the animals, especially giraffe. So we leave enough space for giraffe to go through under. So later on, I also invite our Chinese audience and all the viewers to try and experience the train here to look at the whole national park. Actually, before this, Nairobi is the largest national park in the city. But for our previous experience, actually, especially for Mombasa and Nairobi Railway, during our construction, we actually saw a lot of elephants. So later on, when everything finished, you can see a lot of different animals when you on the train. So for Nairobi and the Marab Railway, how that's play its role. Actually, this is very important. It's play a vital role because here is extended line of Mombasa Nairobi Railway. Mombasa is the industrial park. It's enjoy very fast development. And for this part, the Nairobi-Marab Railway, the first phase of the construction going through the Great Rift Valley. These bring the actually quite different challenge to us. We have a lot of technical difficulties. Like 2 days ago, we talk about the Great Rift Valley, and actually this terrain also brings different difficulties to our projects, especially to challenge our technologies and how we can build up the whole constructions over the different terrains, and also for the weathers, a lot of rains. So we need to think about the crack of the valley. We need to think about the raining weathers. We need to think about the earthquake. Actually, from the terrain to the weather, everything needs to be in our considerations. And a lot of actually the new challenge to us. And this is especially for the Great Rift Valley. We talk about that before the railway actually followed the terrain, but right now for us, this is our first time to build up this kind of advanced railway over this kind of different terrains. So this is something new for us. So besides this tactical part, I also studied before with the whole railway. Also, a lot of the issues, like we need to move the previous residents here, and also need to think about the national park. Actually, this is quite different from our previous experience in Mombasa and Nairobi. And Nairobi actually is very, very important and also near to the Lake Victoria. So let's have a big pressure on moving the local residents to other places, and the president and also local authorities, they really play a greater role in this. So we need to think about that when the train goes through the compound, we also need to think about the issues and how we can mitigate the risk.
conduct a
meeting. So we will talk about all different kinds of difficulties, and I hope the president will also help us and give us a big support. Thank you very much, and I hope everything will be a big successful, everything will go smoothly. And through the executive manager, Mr. Wang's introduction, we know exactly how many the piers we will use and the whole length of the construction railway, and why we spent much effort to build this construction. And this bridge, actually, we can see here is really tall because here we over the national park. So we will bring the railways higher up above the national park, because the animals here is the national park. So the animals will do migrations. So the whole bridge actually is around 48 meters high. And on my hand, there's a social responsibility report. We just received it yesterday. We talk about the different railways, including Mombasa, Nairobi, and Nairobi-Marab railway. So let me share with you the social responsibilities mentioned in this report. So during the construction, it helped the growth of GDP higher than 1.5%, lowered the logistic costs by 40%, and hired around 72,000 people to build up the whole construction. So it helped to boost the local employment. Right now we have around 20,000 people from Nairobi here, from Kenya, to give the construction, give their share of contribution. So this really helped to drive the whole cost lower and help to increase the efficiency, and also play a vital role in the whole national transportation network, and hope it can later on boost the whole national GDP, grow higher, and also their economic can develop faster. Let me show you a video clip about the whole background about the whole railway.
那这边呢，再给大家来介绍一下，也是现在目前大家能看到的这个内马铁路宣传片的一些内容。
And let me also talk about on the right hand side, this is the instruction of the whole construction. So here, this part is called Nairobi-Marab Railway. So this is extended line of the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway. So linked to Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, and other border countries together, and I hope can build up the whole East African transportation network. And we are here at the construction site. This is the Nairobi-Marab Railway with the overall lines of the 480 kilometers. They will divide into 3 phases. Today we're seeing the first phase of the construction. For the construction, everything goes as planned. So till now we can see the foundations finished 48%, for the bridge finished 65% of the overall process, and the tunnels finish around 80% of the overall process. So here we only show you the part of the whole bridge part. So based on the numbers we got on hand, we can see everything goes smoothly and as planned. So after everything constructed and finished, we'll link with the railways in Uganda, and also will link Mombasa, Nairobi railway. So this will largely drop the logistic fees and help the interconnectivity among the East African countries, and help them to build up their economies and also drive their industrial development. For Mr. President Uhuru, he said at the opening of the project, so this is projects not only help the economic growth for the countries along the route, and will also create a lot of jobs opportunities and help to realize the further industrialization. For China, this is the early result of China's proposed Belt and Road Initiative, and this is also the benchmark project of China's BRI.
So
at the beginning of our live stream, as I mentioned today, besides a lot of media outlets, we also will see Mr. President himself. And this is not actually the Mr. President himself first visit the whole construction site. From the beginning of the whole project, and also, let's say, the beginning of the Mombasa-Nairobi project, Mr. President actually paid a different visit to the construction site. And for this project, this is his third time be at the field. So let's say every half a year, the president will pay a visit to the construction site. We can tell the president attach a great importance to the construction project, and he visits different places of the project and also look at the different part of the construction. So himself really pay a great attention to the details and also show the support and the care to the Chinese workers in Nairobi, and he will also participate in the meetings. So as our executive manager, Mr. Wang, mentioned, there were a lot of different difficulties that need the government and local authorities support, and especially for the additional coordination efforts. So Mr. President every time himself will help to do the coordination job. So Mombasa-Nairobi and Nairobi-Marab rails, besides creating a lot of job opportunities, and then later on more greater role will link the whole East African transportation network, and this is the network will be seen years later. So Mombasa to Nairobi, this is the part right now we are quite familiar with, and this is also the first railway for China's Chinese standards going abroad. And for Mombasa, this is a very important port city. So everything here is very important. This is a very busy port. So this is the critical areas for the whole Eastern Africa. And here is Nairobi, and I go to the central part to the Kenyan, and from Nairobi to Maraba. Maraba is a border city, so next to Uganda. So after this connected, we can tell, then we will go to the southern Sudan, to the Kampala of Uganda, and also links the neighbors. So this is important for the South, so the East African's connectivity. We talk about from Mombasa to Nairobi without railway before, in the old times, in ancient times, only can transport it around 1 million tons of products. This is only by driving. So we can see this is only by the road transportation. Everything's really low efficiency. So thanks to the railways, this is will highly help the whole areas, especially for the East Africa. We will see a rapid development in these areas. Besides driving the economic development, we talk about the whole railways. They also will have a larger influence to the whole society. So besides Nairobi here, it also have a lot of jobs created to the peoples in the cities along the route. And today I also invite waitresses from the local restaurant, or is also the owners.
And I'm from Twala,
So she's
in
Nita.
Nairobi, Kenya. I've studied tourism and travel, and I live out in a town called Twala, very small town, but it's bordering the SGR. And we have the train passing by just behind us. Yes.
他介绍说他的名字呢叫做 Anita， 来，Anita。
So her name is Anita.
和丹麦
And
人
it's
合
a
作。那他的家乡呢就是在内马铁路沿线的一个小村庄，这个村庄的名字
It's
叫做
from a small village, so that the village name is Twala. So that's a small village
那 so you have a restaurant? How about
will be linked
Yes, we have a family
by
business
the
out in
railway
Twala
next to
called
us.
CityView, and we've been there for more than 17 years. We've lived out there, and it's a bar and restaurant where we cater for all the locals around, and then in the weekends we have many people from Nairobi town that come to eat because they have land out in Twala as well. Yes.
So now since the construction has begun, you have get more customers.
Yes, we've had many more customers. We've had many Chinese also coming to eat at CityView, teaching us how to cook their food as well. So we know a few Chinese dishes. We allow them to come into the kitchen and cook as well. And business-wise has been very good for us. We're actually very happy that the Chinese have come more, and more people are also coming to see the railway passing through Twala every day. Yes.
Anita 呢说，她说这个自从这个铁路沿线开
So Anita introduced after we have part of the railway connected, and that really helped the business of her restaurant.
一个挺样的一个红人了。以前她说她
So
的这个生意呢
actually
大概
she's
是
very famous right now
生意不如
in
现在
Kenya.
开工
So
之
the
后
business actually for is
生意因为当地的工人呢也是
for
非
8
常非常的
years.
对
The
它的客流量非
annual
常大
profits right now is only her monthly profit, and also a lot of the Chinese people. We have Chinese tourists and also have the construction workers, so will also be her friends. So also allow them to cook
All the locals
in the
around
kitchen.
us have also gotten many job opportunities. From morning and lunchtime, we're very busy. We have people coming in, all the truck workers, the local people from Rongai, not only in Twala as well. So everyone is busy. We're all happy that the SGR has given us a lot of work. Yes.
她说她非常感谢整个的这个内马铁路。
So she's really thanks to the whole railway, especially for the Nairobi-Marab, because it create a lot of job opportunities and attract a lot of peoples to her restaurant. So she's very busy.
For the railway, we're also happy that they've made our roads, because the roads before were very, very bad. All the small roads also within Twala, from Twala to where I live, that's past Twala, has been made as well. Our expectations are business is going to grow even more. The town is going to become bigger. We're going to get a main road on the road as well. There's going to be more businesses, more opportunities, so people can come in and out of Twala every day. The station also is going to be helping, so we'll be able to use the train station as well, up and down. So we're very excited about this. It's a good opportunity.
Okay, so can you say some Chinese since you have so many Chinese friends?
If I can say, I only know how to say shusha.
谢谢。
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anita 呢，她因为跟中国人接触的比较多呢，所以她刚才也有写。
Anita know a lot of Chinese friends, so she also can say 谢谢 in Chinese, which means thank you. So thanks to the routes, thanks to the railway, people have jobs and their children can go to schools and they are trained in skills, their living standards improved. So she really say a big thank you to China. Thank you for building the whole railway. As also coming to the end of our live stream, we can tell 2018 is the first year to run the Nairobi Nairobi Railway, and also the very important year, the critical year to build up the whole railway. And we're also waiting the whole Chinese workers will bring more benefits and opportunities to Africa and bring the bright future to Africa.